Hello and welcome. I'm Tracy Pa with the Midday News. NCD police are on the ground to provide security at 8 Mile Port Moresby following the alleged death of 3 people during an ethnic clash yesterday morning. According to eyewitnesses, the incident happened on Saturday, August 2nd. A drunken brawl occurred between people from the Eastern Highlanders and Southern Highlands, resulting in the alleged wounding of an Eastern Highlander. Other Eastern Highlanders living in the area retaliated and burnt down a rental property. It is alleged that the owner of the rent house and his son were in the building when it was set on fire at 5 a.m. yesterday. There were reports that one more person was killed during the fight. Meantime, other property were also destroyed. This included the touching of 2 taxis and a robbery on a canteen. Police are currently investigating the incident. After a decade, the Pacific Lime and Cement Project was launched at Kido Village, Hirikoyari District by Prime Minister James Marape. This launch is known as the country's first downstream lime manufacturing hub, capable of producing quicklime, clinker, and ultimately cement from quarry to port. This could potentially establish a new export industry as well. PLC Managing Director Paul Mulder emphasized that this project is a generational change for the people of Kido and Lele Village, Hirikoyari District, Central Province, and the country.
Country first. 100% DMO first before we export abroad. I'm so privileged that we will see bricks, pavers, casting, culverts, bridge pipes, beams, everything that could be made here in the future for the country.
Papua New Guinea's premier dance crew TVWAN squad has successfully defended their world title at the 2025 World Hip Hop Dance Competition in Arizona, securing a historic back-to-back win for the nation.
TVWAN squad PNG has made history once again, taking first place at this year's World Hip Hop Dance Championship in the United States. The team competed against more than 3,000 dancers from over 55 countries, outperforming strong contenders including Mexico and Australia, who took second and third place respectively. The back-to-back win highlights the team's discipline, creativity, and resilience, bringing global attention to Papua New Guinea's talent in the performing arts. Their participation was made possible through the continued support of Pacific Industries Limited under its Mountain Dew brand, which provided full sponsorship for their trip and preparation. TVWAN squad's victory not only celebrates dance excellence, but also marks a proud moment for PNG on the world stage. Salome Vincent, TV1 News.
The Usuno-Bundi by-election officials comprising of the returning officer Terence Bayo and assistant returning officers of each local level government did a one-day training on counting. It was facilitated by staff of the Provincial Electoral Office. The training was a refresher to ensure officials properly monitor the counting process and counting officials as well. Counting for the by-election begins Tuesday, 5th August.
Counting for the Usuno-Bundi by-election begins tomorrow, Tuesday, 5th August. Election officials for the by-election were given a refresher training on the counting process and how to better monitor it, and counting officials. Assistant Election Manager for Isipik, Richard Cabine, was a training facilitator. He emphasized on the new count model of decentralized counting at a centralized count center, which they will use to ensure counting is done effectively and efficiently. Trainees went through the LPV voting system and the technical details of the counting processes, such as exclusion, elimination, formal and informal ballot paper identification, exhausted ballot papers, calculating the absolute majority, allowed personnel within the counting venue, quality checks and procedures, appropriate forms utilized for counting, and quality checks and filling forms correctly. The training was for assistant returning officers to prepare them also for the LLG elections this September. The 9 participants were taken through counting scenarios to put into perspective situations which may arise as counting progresses. This included crisis management protocols and the chain of command and channel of communication needed to follow in the event an error is encountered. Usino Bundi Bielection Returning Officer Terence Bayo emphasized on due diligence for the counting so that the Usino Bundi people genuinely accept their newly appointed leader for the next several months until the next national general elections in 2027.
We don't want to backfire anything in terms to get it from the primary account. When we find some issues with the primary account, and when we come to last and long collective checker, that's possibly good before we go to the elimination process.
Mr. Kaiban reiterated the importance of counting and the documentation for an acceptable count and declaration in line with the organic law on national and LLG election. He said the new counting strategy is said to be cost-effective as it limits counting days. The by-election counting will begin with separate LLG counts, quality checks, and later merging of data for elimination and eventually a declaration.
It's very important that you get what we train here. That return is very, very important because that returns will accompany the rate. Without that return, all but rejecting one end is very clear. So Commissioner one accepting it. Basically the 66 A's that's A1, A2, and then 66B. This lower I must go attend.
A training session will be conducted with counting officials today in preparation for counting on Tuesday. Salome Vincent, TV1 News.
To overseas news, Canberra's electricity network has been struggling to cope with record demand for electricity this winter. High heater use, population growth and a push towards electrification mean there has been an uptick in unplanned outage this cold season.
Cheese worth thousands of dollars, aging to perfection in the right conditions.
Pretty much everything needs to be kept below 4 degrees. If it stays above that temperature for a long period of time, it needs to be thrown out.
Which means all's well until the power goes out.
It's like immediate stress. I think the monetary value comes secondary to me. I think the food wastage is the first thing. It's really sad to throw out that much food when you're just filling up a skip bin with food that could be consumed.
Record high demand for electricity this winter has led to a jump in unplanned outages. The reason is simple: it's really cold.
A lot of people who might not use their heater the whole night generally turn the heater on, and when it starts to get close to the network's capacity, if there is any underlying issues with the network, they start to show up and then might trip the feeder.
Suburbs in the Molonglo Valley and Gungahlin have been especially affected by outages, which have jumped by 20% compared to June last year. Some residents have reported multiple outages per week.
Both areas are growing areas in the ACT. So Molonglo Valley, the growth out there has been quite close to our capacity on the network.
And while some batteries have been added to the network, they're only temporary. The added pressure doesn't come as a shock to experts because of Canberra's population growth and a shift away from gas appliances.
As some of our cities and regional areas are growing, we need to deal with that by putting in more infrastructure. Part of that infrastructure is electricity, and keeping up with that is hard sometimes. Now, I think that's the role of the energy companies, whether they're privately owned or government owned.
Plans to upgrade Canberra's network are underway, but won't offer relief this season.
We're currently building a brand new zones substation, which will be online before next winter, before we see the next peaks.
Keeping up with demand so Canberrans can keep warm or cool.
From catching waves to cruising the mighty Fitzroy River, regional Queenslanders are finding unique ways to stay active as they age. While exercise is important to staying healthy, it's been found that the social benefits of working out with your mates can be just as important to your well-being.
Strapping in for a mild ride. The Gold Coast granny grommets meet weekly to tackle the waves and stare down ageing.
We've got a group of about 5 of us that come every week without fail and get in the cold water regardless of the temperature.
Hitting the surf in their 60s, they know the importance of staying active.
I think you have to make it a priority every day. So for me, I train every day in some way or other. And this is just a really good, fun way of doing it.
Having that connection is very, very important. It probably outweighs the physical, though that's really important too.
As well as the obvious physical benefits, researchers say exercising in a group setting can be the key to motivating older people to stay active long term, and it can help stave off loneliness.
The social support and being with others increases our mood and our mental health as well. So it ticks 2 boxes if you can get out, get active with others.
Rowing is how these Rockhampton mates in their 60s keep moving.
Very hard to injure yourself, and as you get older, that's really important.
But the Fitzroy fossils build more than muscle on their adventures.
The beauty of rowing in a boat, it's a team sport, so you get the opportunity to be with people. You're doing something that's a collective endeavour.
Strengthening body, mind and mateship.
In sports, West Eagles AFL club is filming for a strong finish in the 2025 Money Plus Port Moresby AFL competition with a hope to challenge for the major title. Following their victory over Skyroos over the weekend, Eagles head coach John Timothy said his side has done well during the most part of the season and will look to continue its winning form into the back end of the season. Timothy said the win was important for their aspiration for finals. He further said the Eagles have done well in some areas of their game, but there are also other areas where they need to improve. With the team currently sitting top on the POM AFL competition ladder, Coach Timothy is confident his side will make the finals.
We optimistic that we can play the finals this year, but you know the other teams are getting stronger as well. Also with injuries, some of our boys are carrying injuries as well. We hope that they will recover from their injuries before the finals. All the teams in the competition. They are becoming strong. They are all strong teams. So it's just that you need to make sure that you have the good crop of players to put up a challenge every weekend to get a win and place yourself in the top 4 table there.
And that ends our midday news. Do join us at 6 p.m. for more news and sports. Bye for now.